A CBS News investigation reveals new evidence in the cases of service members who believe their rare cancers and other illnesses stem from their time served on a remote base after 9/11. They say they were exposed to toxic materials at a former Soviet base in Uzbekistan known as K2. U.S. troops first deployed there 19 years ago. Now, for the first time, a Defense Department employee involved in testing at the base is going on the record to help hundreds of suffering veterans. Senior investigative correspondent Catherine Herridge reports.
About 3/4 of the trip, I don't have a sidewalk, so I ride on the side of the road. So I constantly have to check, make sure there's no cars coming. I had no idea at 40 that this would be my life.
Former Air Force mechanic Doug Wilson says he can no longer work or drive after a rare cancer caused brain damage. Wilson, his wife Crystal, and their 2 children rely on disability payments and Crystal's teacher salary.
I think the biggest thing that breaks my heart is just the confidence that he's lost in himself.
Wilson is one of nearly 2,000 current and former service members who flooded this Facebook page, self-reporting cancer, neurological disorders, and other illnesses. They believe it is linked to their military service at Karshi-Khanabad, or K2, a remote base in Uzbekistan. After 9/11, the VA says about 10,000 troops passed through K2 over a 4-year period, supporting missions hunting al-Qaeda. But while stationed there, some say they were surrounded by dangerous toxic waste at the running track and at this site nicknamed Skittles Pond for its changing shade.
100 days, we thought we'd be out of there.
Among the first to arrive at K2, Defense Department employee Mike Lechleitner.
I served as part of a small team that provided support to our special operators going further downrange into Afghanistan.
But just days into Lechleitner's mission, he says local workers hired to build a dirt barrier started getting sick.
They were fainting, getting dizzy, and getting nauseous.
Soon after, Lechleitner was asked to help identify testing sites across the base.
First test site we dug, a liquid substance seeped up, gold in color, and smelled like jet fuel, which made sense because they had tanks of fuel there that had probably been leaking since the Soviet day.
He was also asked to gather intelligence on the base's history.
We learned that the Soviets had had a chemical weapons decontamination unit adjacent to our camp.
Low-resolution satellite imagery shows the aftermath of a massive explosion in 1993 at the base's weapons depot. Lechleitner says the explosion scattered toxic material, including asbestos, and a refined form of uranium ore called yellowcake.
How high were the readings?
7 to 9 times higher than normal background radiation.
7 to 9 times normal for radiation.
Right. And they found a fragment that was handed to me bagged and was described as this is a piece of yellowcake.
You're saying that the explosion in 1993 pulverized yellowcake uranium and spread it across the base.
Is my understanding based on the readings.
A base surgeon was also concerned. He wrote this environmental exposure memo obtained by CBS News for his unit's permanent medical record in case they got sick. It documents arsenic and cyanide present in the soil, air, and water. Doug Wilson and his wife Crystal were stunned by what we learned.
Disappointed's not even the right word.
That's crazy that they would let us work in that kind of environment.
The VA found no link between Wilson's diagnosed medical condition and military service. He appealed the decision with a letter of support from his oncologist, stating his cancer is more than likely connected to toxic exposure. A year later, the appeal is still pending.
If the VA acknowledged your brain cancer is connected to your service, what difference would it make?
It would open up a flood of programs.
Like grants to make their home more wheelchair accessible and more money for their family's future.
Almost $2,000 more a month.
What difference would that make to your family?
Oh, goodness, a huge difference.
Lechleitner only learned a few months ago that so many service members were suffering.
They were the finest group of Americans I've ever served with, and these were the people that were first in.
In a statement, a VA spokesperson told CBS News that disability claims are decided on a case-by-case basis, and the VA is closely tracking health effects from K2 deployment. In a preliminary review, the VA says it found the death rate for K2 veterans is lower than the general population, though a larger research study is ongoing. The Defense Department had no statement for our reporting. Anthony.
What an extraordinary story, Catherine. We hope they get some more results from that larger research study. Thank you very much.